welcome to another exciting episode of Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And I'm laughing starting off, and the reason why is because we do the show without a net. And what we're talking about today is how to authenticate autographs on your own. And I said, when you don't authenticate them, when you don't need to authenticate them, and Mr. Magazine goes, well, when don't you? And I said, well, wait for the show, you'll find out. And so we're all going to find out together.
Hopefully.
So let's start off. This happens regularly. You get a collection of stuff, and a couple of things in it are signed. Now, you have dealt a lot with sports autographs, and you can tell a lot of times right away when something is really off. I mean, you've dealt with thousands of Mickey Mantle autographs in your day. Yeah. You can tell, like, okay, that's really not even Mickey Mantle.
Exactly.
So
it's not even a good fake.
Right, yeah. But how do you pick up a collection of stuff that's got autographs in it? Mm-hmm. What do you do? How do you do it as far as...
Well, especially on eBay, it's very difficult because you want to make sure you're not selling anything fake. So you definitely got to double check it. And, there's many options. For me, I picked up that one collection in Ohio. It had Johnny Cash signatures. It had Elvis Presley signatures. And I was no expert on it. I've had them before, but just want to confirm it. So I would go on eBay, really, and look at other ones that are authenticated by PSA, JSA, Beckett, Upper Deck, any of the top companies, and compare to those, and if they look like those, then I would assume that they are legitimate.
I think part of it is where did you get them, and what is the overall theme of the collection that you got, and whose autograph is it? And by that I mean, if I go and it's somebody or other, it's a doctor in a very well-to-do area, and he's got some higher-end autographs, I could believe that. Yes, he collected those things. That was his collection.
Right.
I pick up a collection of stuff, and the guy's got 200 magazines that are all New York Yankees magazines. He's got New York Yankees pennants, and then he's got a Willie Randolph autograph, a Kevin Moss autograph. I'm willing to bet that those are real. Right. Now, obviously, some things you want to get authenticated, the Babe Ruth, the Mickey Mantle, those things, because A, they're valuable, B, there are a lot of forgeries out there on them. But somebody like Kevin Moss, I can't imagine anybody is going to be taking, nothing against Mr. Moss, he was a great player, but I can't believe anybody is going to be taking a baseball and faking Kevin Moss's signature on it, especially when you pick it up from a collection of a Yankees collector.
Sure.
It makes absolute sense that he would have that. If he's got tons of Yankee stuff, and that, or I'll give a better example. He's got tons of Red Sox stuff, and then he's got a Bucky Dent in there. Well, wait a minute. He probably doesn't collect Bucky Dent unless it's...
what he did what he did to them in 1978 playoffs.
Exactly. I'd be going, why does he have a Bucky Dent in there? That doesn't quite fit in with the collection.
Yeah.
But that's a good starting point to tell. A couple of real tells that they've caught people having forgeries on before. Know your baseballs. Know who the commissioner was at a certain time. And we've seen cases out there before where it was a signature of a person that was deceased before the so-and-so became commissioner.
Yeah, that particular ball. Yep, exactly.
Unlikely that is real. Quite unlikely that is real. Another caveat, there are so many different things, and we've talked about this before, there are so many different things that people can sign on, and the signature on a golf ball is not going to look like a signature on a baseball, is not necessarily going to look completely like a signature on a flat.
Right.
So do try, if you can, match up like and like. And all you're really trying to do at this point is get the absolute forgeries out of the way. You look at it and you go, this doesn't even begin to look like it.
Well, and the most common forgeries would be the cheapest item that they're signing in case they do make a mistake, which would be like a photo, a piece of paper, because you mess it up, it's $1, whereas a ball, now you mess up a ball, there's probably less forgeries on the ball because balls cost $10, $20. Then you get into a football where it's less likely that someone's going to forge a football because that's $50 to $100 if they mess up the signature. And then you got a jersey. So as the raw item gets more expensive, I'm not saying they can't forge them. It's less likely they're going to forge items like that.
Well, and another thing that I'll give you the perfect example. sometimes you pick up magazines, older magazines, movie star magazines, whatever, and it'll have, I don't know, Marlon Perkins on the cover. I don't know why he's on the cover of a movie star magazine, but anyway, Marlon Perkins on the cover.
Okay.
And there's an autograph of Marlon Perkins.
Yeah.
Who signed it? Sometimes, back in the day, kids would take the magazine and be practicing their cursive and write Marlon Perkins.
Right.
So you see something or other in there and it's got Marlon Perkins' signature on it. Do a search before you do anything.
Sure.
Like, that isn't even close to it. I bet that the kids signed it.
Yeah.
Because you do see things like that happening.
Oh, yeah. Well, even earlier stuff like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, they were so famous that, they would have other people sign their signatures because they didn't want to be bothered sometimes, in the dugout or a secretary or whoever.
Wife
yeah.
sends
So
some of them.
it may look similar, but, when you get down to it, it is not correct. And you could probably tell by just like going and looking at those sites on eBay to compare them to.
Now, when don't you really need to verify too much? Small press books of, local authors, those kind of things. Could somebody have grabbed this book with a print run of 2,000 and 1,400 people want the book in the world and signed it? I suppose so, but unlikely. Another thing that gives a lot of it makes me feel really, really good about signatures, especially in books, is when there's the gift inscription in there. And even on photos and that kind of thing, because if it's inscribed to somebody, it tends to be worth less. If I'm forging Michael Jordan signatures, I'm probably not going to write, to Maurice, glad you're a big fan, Michael Jordan. I'm probably just going to do the Michael Jordan. I'm probably not going, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it lowers the value.
Right.
Number two, if I'm a forger, I learned kind of how to do the Michael Jordan signature.
Right.
That's 12 letters total? I don't know how he writes the word to.
Right.
I don't know how he would write, you're my biggest fan. I don't necessarily know how he would write those things.
Sure.
So it gives me more opportunity to get caught with the forgery than, because Michael Jordan's just going to write that out in his hand, and that's what it's going to look like.
Sure. Well, checks are legitimate. You never have to worry about checks because legally those should be signed by who they say they're signed by. So.
Yeah, so that's another example. A lot of times what I will do as well, I come up with things from time to time, old music programs, conductors and pianists from the 1920s. You're not going to find that on eBay. Right. You're just not. So what I do in those cases is I will do some searches on Google trying to find something or other signed by them. A lot of times you can't find it.
Yeah.
But if I've got a program from 1920 signed by 3 people that were in the show, all the signatures are different. Different enough that you can tell this is the same person having written all 3 signatures. I would pretty much stake everything I own that is real. Yeah. Somebody attended that show and met with the people backstage, and the pianist signed it. And that's another good choice, or another good tip as well. When you have something or other and it's only signed by the top star, but it's got a lot of different people, could it be real? Yes, of course. But when you see it signed by Dickie Simpkins, it adds some more credence that it is real, because nobody's really going to forge some backup singer's signature on a program. Doesn't mean that it's 100% real, but it definitely lends credence to the fact that it is real.
Right.
Anything else you can think of that you're going to find out there? I know you basically deal with the sports stuff, and I don't deal with the sports stuff very much.
Well, another thing you can do, these companies have pre-certification where you can send them a scan of the item, and you can pay $10 or $20, PSA, JSA, and they'll tell you in their opinion, if it's something valuable, they may say, hey, we prefer you sending it in, but it looks good. And then even on eBay, you can, as long as you list an item on eBay and you immediately contact PSA, I think it's $15.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yep.
They will tell you within a day or so if they think it's legit or not. And then if it's good, you keep it on listing, sell it. You could add the certification to it. If not, then you want to pull that off so you don't get in trouble for listing an item like that.
Yep. Yeah. So there's all these different ways of doing it. Obviously, nobody can go back in time and have watched the person signing it, and that just wasn't if it's the 1950s and I was out at a restaurant and saw 1950 and I saw Hank Aaron and I asked him to sign something or other on the back of a napkin, well, obviously there's no possible way that I can prove that my dad was out there and did get the signature. I can't prove it, but there's a lot of ways that
a napkin most likely is not going to be forged. They would find something better to sign. Yeah.
Well, then that makes total sense.
Right.
Back of your airline ticket because you happened to see, I know mysterious benefactor saw Dick Butkus in an airport one time and said hi to him. Well, he could have grabbed his airport ticket, his flight ticket, because he was gotten off the flight. Can you sign this?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, Dick Butkus signing the back of an airline ticket. I saw him in an airport. Makes sense.
Sure.
And I don't know what Dick Butkus's autograph is worth. No idea whatsoever. Any idea?
Probably $50 on a ticket like that or something.
Yeah, so it's great, but it does make total sense. That, I was at an airport and I saw the guy, and he signed this.
Yeah.
That isn't something whether you're going to forge, generally speaking. Exactly. It's just not. So hopefully that helps you some, because I know a lot of times when you're in the trade, you do come across autographs. I guess to summarize, does it make sense? Does it fit into the collection? Is it something or other that's likely to be forged or not likely to be forged? The bigger the star, the bigger the likelihood of forgery. Michael Jordan gets forged a lot more than Dickie Simpkins. Both great players, one greater than the other. Another thing too, know what happened around your area. So if you're buying a collection out of your area, I'll give you a perfect example. We have the U.S. Open comes here to Oak Hill every 10, 15 years, whatever the heck it is. They've been here any number of times. A lot of times back in the 80s, I believe Wegmans, a local grocery store, sponsored the LPGA Tour. Mm-hmm. You're going to find a lot of women's golf stuff around Rochester.
Sure.
Makes complete and total sense. You're going to find a lot of Bills autographs around here because the training camp was over in Pittsford for years. I don't know if it still is or not, but it was over there for years.
Yeah.
You live in a college town, you live in Columbus, Ohio, you're probably going to be more likely to find Ohio State stars. Yeah. You just are more likely to find those things there. Right. So know your area, know your region. Cal Ripken stuff tends to be around here. Orioles stuff tends to be around here because they were the minor league, the Rochester Red Wings were the minor league team for the Baltimore Orioles for years. Mm-hmm. A lot of fans around here, they're going to search them out. Know who came to the card shows around your area.
Yeah.
One other thing that you will find out there, and you absolutely 100%, well, I'd say 99.999% do not ever have to worry about it, is you will find at thrift stores sometimes books that are autographed, and they've got a sticker on the cover that says autographed copy. A lot of times what happens is Barnes & Nobles, Borders, whoever it was, would have an author come in for a signing, and they'd talk a little bit about their book, and they'd sign things for people that bought the book. Well, while they were there, they sold some extra signed some extra copies that to be sold later. That Barnes and Nobles or whoever put a sticker on the cover that says autographed copy. Those 99.99% of the time are real. Could I find the dust jacket?
Right.
Get a copy of the book that's not signed and sign it? Yeah, I suppose that I could. That's an awful lot of work for something or other. Unlikely that it's going to be forged.
Sure.
So you will find those out there. And one other quick place to look for autographs, when you are at a thrift store or a sale, take a look inside of sports books. A lot of times you can find autographs inside of sports books. People will get those autographed on the first page. So anytime I'm at one and I do see sports books, I pick them out and take a quick look. Mm-hmm. For the 5 seconds that it takes to look, it's time well invested. And I know I found a couple of them throughout the years. Can't remember who now, but I know I found a couple of them throughout the years that way. Oh, actually, one of my best finds ever. I was in Cleveland at a thrift store, and it was a book about the Four Horsemen. And I found two copies. Mm-hmm. One was autographed by 3 of the 4 horsemen, and one was autographed by 2 of the 4.
Wow.
I paid $1 something a piece for them, and I remember I got like $100 for the one book and $150 for the other. Right. At this point, it's probably worth quite a bit more, but we're going back 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And again, did I believe they were real? Yes, I did, because why would somebody forge those and then donate them to Goodwill?
Right, true.
Rather unlikely that somebody's going to go through all that trouble in order to do so.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps you some. Do hit the like button. Do comment down below about some tips that you have for ways to authenticate autographs as best as you're able to do so. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.